Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today I'm going to be discussing the Ottawa Senators and what prospects they might pick in the first round of this upcoming NHL draft. Now, the Sens have put themselves in an insanely good position heading into this 2020 draft with three different first round picks. You have the third overall pick, which is San Jose's, fifth overall, which is their own, and then the New York Islanders first round pick, which could, quite frankly, be all over the place. But one thing is for sure, they will have some amazing options and most likely will come away with one of, if not the best prospect pool in the entire NHL after this draft. But who do I think they should draft at these spots, and what do I think they'll do with those three first round picks? Watch till the end for all my picks and predictions, and of course, hit that big red subscribe button for more videos just like this one. Now, obviously, we have no idea what that Islanders pick will actually become, whether it's in the top 12 or whether it goes as low as number 31. So, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to assume that they land it with the 15th overall spot, which is insanely lucky for the Sens, which means they get three top 15 picks. And I think the Sens already have one of the best prospect pools in the entire NHL, and then adding three top 15 prospects is absolutely elite. I think LA probably has the best prospect pool as it stands, but if the Ottawa Senators play their cards right, they could become number one. And it all starts with that third overall pick, a top three pick which is almost franchise changing for the Sens. This is one that they will have to nail right, but I think it will be the least stressful pick out of these three because it will for the most part be obvious, unless they go for a Jamie Drysdale or a heaven forbid a Jake Sanderson at number 3. To me, it's obviously between Quinton, Byfield, and Tim Stutzle, and I think for the Ottawa Senators they do think the same, or at least I hope they think the same, which means that whoever LA ends up picking, whether it's Quinton Byfield or Tim Stutzle, I think Ottawa will be happy with those leftovers. Again, if it's a guy like Quinton Byfield, number 3, that to me is a number 2 quality prospect in this draft. Getting him at number 3 is an automatic steal. Now, if the Sens are just looking at Tim Stutzle and Quinton Byfield, which should be the case already, I don't think they can really lose with this pick. Again, they get the leftovers of whatever LA gives them. So if it's Tim Stutzle, you get an amazing left winger who will be probably the second left wing behind Brady Tkachuk, maybe to start out. Who knows what they do there. But if you get Quinton Byfield, you get an almost generational potential there. A guy who can become, I think, one of the best centers in the league if his full potential is realized. So for the Ottawa Senators, it's basically a win-win no matter what. Unless you take Jake Sanderson, the Sens should be pretty well off. Now, speaking of Jake Sanderson, now going on to the 5th overall pick, which to me is infinitely more interesting than that 3rd overall pick because there is just almost too many options here for Ottawa to choose. Now, in my mock draft the day after the lottery, I had them taking Stutzle number 3 and Jake Sanderson number 5. And a lot of Sens fans were saying that they were going to go for 2 forwards and they weren't even going to look at Jake Sanderson. And I want that to happen. I think they should take 2 forwards. You go Stutzle number 3 and Lucas Raymond or Marco Rossi at number 5. That would be what I would do. But for the Sens, I'm not completely sure they go on that route. Now, I think it really does depend on what Detroit takes at number 4. Personally, I think they might even take a defenseman. Maybe it's Jake Sanderson. Maybe it's Jamie Drysdale. We obviously don't know until it happens. But at number 5, you have so many other forward options too. At that spot, Marco Rossi, Lucas Raymond, Cole Perfetti, guys that are really, really talented. Alexander Holtz could also sneak into that spot. I would not be surprised with any of those guys, which just means how flexible this pick might be. Now, let's just say for chaos sake and the video's sake that Jake Sanderson is selected 4th overall. I don't believe it'll happen, but it could potentially happen, which would leave some big options for the Ottawa Senators. Now, first and foremost, I think something will be a little bit obvious here, and I think some people would automatically assume that they would take Jamie Drysdale, but I'm not so sure. I think if Jake Sanderson was there, he would be a main contender to be picked, but if Jamie Drysdale was there, I'm not completely sold. The reason because of that is Ottawa already has some amazing puck-moving defensemen in Thomas Chabot already, Eric Brandstrom who's coming up, really solid offensive guys, and I think they would want to go for a more defensive defenseman, which is why I thought they would target Jake Sanderson at number 5, but I think they would go for a forward at this spot if Jake Sanderson was already taken. And to me, it's between a few guys here. You obviously got Lucas Raymond, Marco Rossi, who we discussed earlier, but Alexander Holtz would be there as well, Cole Perfetti Graviteh would be a solid option too. I think they would want to go for a center. Marco Rossi makes the most sense. Again, he was playing in Ottawa this year. So I think for the Ottawa Senators, if you want to go for the hometown grown kid, a guy who's been in Ottawa, knows the area, and can play as a first-line center, I think Marco Rossi is at that spot who I would take. But we do have to remember in this scenario that this is the Ottawa Senators and Eugene Melnyk you're talking about. So the great pick of a Marco Rossi or Lucas Raymond is just probably not going to happen. They're going to select a guy like Braden Schneider, 5th overall. So don't say I didn't warn you, because it's going to happen. Now, let's just assume that 5th overall, they go with the smart thing and take Marco Rossi. You would have Tim Stutzle as a left winger at number 3, Marco Rossi as the number 1 center for the future at number 5, which is already a nasty draft. And then you get into the Islanders pick. And of course, for today's video, I'm just making a placeholder here, so I'm just going to assume they get 15th overall. I think at that spot, they would take a defenseman. Now, as much as I want to see them go full out on forwards, select a guy like Jack Quinn or a Seth Jarvis if he's available at that spot, I think they go for a D-man. Firstly, I think both Braden Schneider and Caden Gooley, hopefully the latter, are gone at that point. And I think they'll have to get a little bit more creative, and I think it's between quite a few guys there. Now, I think they definitely take a big look at all 3 Swedish defensemen in William Wallander, Helge Grans, and Emil Andre. And I think Wallander and Grans have great potential to go to the Sens, especially if that pick is a little bit more later on in the 20s. I could see that as a great fit. You also have solid defensemen, I think, like Ryan O'Rourke, who I think would be a solid fit there as well, who would do a great defensive job for that team. And again, it just depends on where they are, but at number 15, in my opinion, a guy like a Helge Grans or William Wallander would not be a bad pick. I wouldn't reach for them that far, but at the same time, it does make sense. Now at number 15, or whatever it ends up being, if they do decide to go for a forward, I think there would be some great options available. Personally, I think there would be a lot of forwards that I would want to see on the Sens. You've got guys like Anton Lindell, which might be available, Noel Gunler, Seth Jarvis, who would be unbelievable on that team, Jack Quinn, Rodion Amirov, Dawson Mercer, some great wingers available, I think, for the Sens at that spot. But there's also quite a few guys who I think they'll be leaning on, guys like Anton Lindell if they're available, Connor Zari, I think the Sens would like a lot. Dawson Mercer, Brendan Brisson, I think could also be a sleeper at that pick. There is some wide amount of options at 15, and just like the Sens did it in the last draft, getting Lassie Thompson where they did, don't be surprised if the Sens reach for a prospect or go for a guy who they really like. Now, a name that I haven't brought up, but also is very interesting in the discussions, especially of that Islanders pick, is goaltender Yaroslav Askarov. He is far and alone the best goaltender of this draft, but I think it just depends a lot on where Ottawa lands with that Islanders pick on if they're actually going to end up selecting him or not. I don't see them even thinking about him with those 2 first-round picks, at least the first 2 in 3 and number 5. But it does depend on where the Islanders pick goes if they end up selecting a guy like Askarov. Now, if it were to be like number 12 or something, I really don't see them thinking about it too much. But in the 15 range, 20 range, even as low as like 25 or something, and Askarov is still available, I could see them thinking about it quite a bit. I don't think he would be their number 1 choice or anything, but once you get into those 20s, I think it will be very interesting. I think goaltending-wise are already pretty solid right now with Joey Decor, Philip Gustafsson, and Matt Zugard, who they got in the 2nd round of last year's draft. I think they're pretty content on their goaltending situation, but Askarov is a heck of a talent, and getting him around number 25 might not be something that Ottawa can deny. Now, I also don't want to act like these picks are set in stone, because there could be some movement here. I really don't see them moving that 3rd overall pick, and I don't see it as likely they move that 5th overall pick either, but we have heard some rumors regarding that Islanders pick and what Ottawa might do with it. I think personally, Ottawa might be in their best interest to maybe even move down with that pick, maybe get into the late 20s, get a defenseman like a Ryan O'Rourke or something. It will depend on who is available at number 15, but I could see their options being pretty big at this point. I see them keeping those first 2 picks though, number 3 and number 5, selecting twice in the top 5, I think is too nasty to give up, but that Islanders pick might be in play. So if they end up trading that, do not be surprised. But even if the Sens end up trading that pick, there is going to be so much fascinating with this draft when it comes to the Ottawa Senators. You have 2 top 5 picks, which just that by itself will create so much discussion leading up to draft day. It's a pretty exciting time for the Ottawa Senators. I'm just hoping, again, they don't fail with that 5th overall pick. Get Tim Stutzle, get Marco Rossi, and get a guy like Seth Jarvis at number 15. That would be an absolute home run. And in my opinion, if they were able to get those type of guys, those 3 guys in the order I just said, they might just at that point be the best prospect pool in the NHL, even if LA gets that 2nd overall pick. But that'll be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell for more videos just like this one. Make sure you comment down below all your thoughts on the Ottawa Senators first round. Who do you think they should select with their first 3 picks, and who do you think they will select first, 5th, and, or not first, 3rd, 5th, and whatever that Islanders pick ends up being. Let me know all your thoughts, share them down below, share this video also with your friends, boys, get the word out there, especially to any Sens fans you might know. Get this video to them, boys, and click on this card as well, right here, to watch all of my hockey prospect content right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. Thanks so much for watching every single day. I love y'all, and I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.